Hello everyone, I am the Benedict Kirby, and welcome to my channel, The Commander Tavern. The Commander Tavern is a channel dedicated to my favorite Magic the Gathering format. The Brewery is a series on this channel showcasing my spicy brews under the deck text. On this episode of The Brewery, I'll be discussing a new commander from an upcoming secret lair, Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima. If you like this deck or any of the cards I'll be mentioning throughout the video, please consider using my TCG Player affiliate link when purchasing those cards. You can find that link down in the description. It'll really help out the channel at no extra cost to you. But the very best way you can help support the channel is with my Patreon. There are plenty of perks for being a patron, such as early access to certain videos, exclusive deck text, gifts, and more for as little as $1. You could also become a channel member for just 99 cents. Show off your support with a logo next to your name and exclusive emojis. Or you can always just support my channel for free by simply liking, subscribing, and sharing, which also helps out a lot. I put out a video every Monday, so you don't want to miss out. You can join my Discord server for free if you want to join the Commander Tavern community. All pertinent links are down in the description. Alright, let's get back to the episode. Jin Sakai is a 2/4 human samurai for 1 generic, 1 white, 1 blue, and 1 black. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. On top of that, he has another triggered ability that happens whenever a creature you control attacks an opponent by itself. You get to choose whether to make it unblockable or give it double strike. This ability might not seem that strong, especially on a 4 CMC non-green 2/4. However, it becomes amazing once you realize that commander games tend to have 3 opponents. So if you have 1 creature attack each opponent, you'll be able to trigger this thrice. Therefore, I filled the deck with plenty of Saboteur elements. Since a lot of those are on ninjas, I decided to follow through on flavor and include a nice ninja package. While I absolutely loved Ghost of Tsushima, an absolute masterpiece of a video game, hopefully this card gets an in-universe printing sooner than later, especially since whatever it should be fairly easy to do so with Kamigawa flavor. In any case, onto the deck tech. Having mentioned ninjas, let's start there. The deck is running Nashi Moon Sage's Scion, Fallen Shinobi, Ink-Eye Servant of Oni, Orochi Soul Reaver, and Silent Blade Oni as ways to seal things. Not only does this help disrupt opponents, but also puts us ahead since it's technically card advantage. Even more so if we can play the stolen cards for free. If unblockable, we guarantee the trigger. If it wouldn't be blocked anyways, then giving it double strike gives us double the trigger. Absolute madness. Dazzling Sphinx isn't a ninja, but it fits the bill for thievery. You're guaranteed a free instant or sorcery when it connects. If you manage to send it toward an opponent without flyers or creatures with reach, you can give it double strike with Jin Sakai in order to double the trigger. Send this to a green player to hopefully steal their land-based mana acceleration sorcery, or maybe their beast within. I love this card. Back to ninjas, Mistblade Shinobi, Okibagan Shinobi, and Throw Slitter also love getting double strike since these actually provide interaction. Bonus points for hitting with both of the first 2 on an opponent without cards in hand. Just remember to resolve the triggers accordingly. Bounce before you make them discard. Invasion of Kamigawa and Ninja of the Deep Hours also love getting double strike. Granted, the invasion isn't a ninja yet, but it's still useful when it enters since it'll stun another artifact or creature. But when it becomes Rooftop Saboteurs, we get another card drawing ninja like the one here and our commander too. But don't worry, we'll see the deck's actual card advantage soon. Covert Technician helps us cheat in artifacts whenever it connects to an opponent's face. The deck doesn't have many expensive artifacts, so this isn't a do-nothing card in here. Prosperous Thief helps create treasure tokens when it connects, helping us accelerate our mana. The deck has other combat-based mana acceleration, but we'll see those soon. For now, this can help us bank mana via treasure tokens. Speaking of tokens, Kaito Cunning Infiltrator and Miss Significant Naga help us via creating ninja tokens. Kaito gaining loyalty from us dealing combat damage is just icing on the cake, since we want to be attacking anyways. We can very easily and quickly attain his emblem, creating us a ton of ninja tokens in the span of a 3-opponent commander game. The Naga copies itself, which can get quite out of hand when given double strike. Throat Seeker, Ingenious Infiltrator, Higura the Stillwind, Silver Fur Master, and Satoru Umezawa are sort of lords for ninjas. The first one might not seem that strong since it only gives conditional lifelink, but if our unblocked ninjas have double strike, we won't gain an insignificant amount of life. The Infiltrator gives our ninjas a coastal piracy type effect, but worry not. We'll see the rest of those effects in a moment. Higura is amazing because he can tutor for any ninja in our library. It's amazing when he has double strike. As a bonus, he's also a source for making ninjas unblockable. Don't worry, we'll see the rest of those sources soon. The last 2 work amazingly well together as well as apart. However, having them together means that we can essentially cheat any of our big creatures into play for just 3 mana. Last but not least is Sakashima's Student, the ninja that can become anything. I love this card. Being able to ninjutsu in the biggest threat on the board is no joke, even if it's just to duplicate our best non-legendary creature. This card is amazing here. Having seen that most of the ninjas in the deck have some sort of saboteur effect, I'd be remiss if I didn't take advantage of our commander's abilities and just gave all of our creatures similar effects. That's why the deck is running Biden of Thassa, Coastal Piracy, Enduring Curiosity, Reconnaissance Mission, The Indomitable, Ultimecia Temporal Threat, and Starwinder. The last 2 can be pricey in terms of casting cost, but if you control Satoru, we can ninjutsu either in for just 4 mana. and in any case the Starwinder has a warp cost of 4, so it's not so bad in an epic combat turn. These cards do a ton of work, so much so that Reliquary Tower, Thought Vessel, and Decanter of Endless Water are included in order for us to keep our fat hand. The land doesn't take up a slot in the deck, and the other two also serve as mana rocks, further helping a non-green deck accelerate, with the only other mana rock being Soul Ring. Worry not, the deck does have land-based mana acceleration, but we'll see those eventually. Going back to those card advantage sources, they're still dependent on combat damage, and therefore dependent on creatures that are also able to connect in combat, which is why the deck is also running Call of the Ring and Phyrexian Arena. Sure, the first one will only draw us the card if we choose a Ring Bearer, which won't happen if we don't control any creatures. However, hopefully we'll at least control one when it does. In any case, the best thing about this enchantment is having the Ring tempt us, because the deck is also running Frodo Sauron's Bane, an absolutely disgusting Saboteur. While he himself is a source of having the Ring tempt us, if the Ring has already tempted us to the max, he can instantly kill any opponent he deals combat damage to. So you best believe Jin Sakai is giving this hobbit some unblockability. Or maybe Frodo can already get through uncontested. Give him double strike in order to have the Ring tempt us twice, speeding up the trigger if he's not already yet. Similar Saboteurs include Virtues of Veil, Quiet as Spike, and Scytheclaw. Having an opponent's life isn't as impressive as outright removing them from the game. However, any of these sources with double strike will drop an opponent's life to 1/4 their total. So even if an opponent were still fresh at 40 life, they're dropping to 10. These 4 cards are part of the deck's game-ending strategy. Other Saboteur effects also help with mana acceleration, such as Sword of the Animus, Bitter Thornus' Animus, and Sword of Hearth and Home. Granted, the first 2 trigger on attack and not combat damage, but we can save the equipped creature from dying in combat by making it unblockable. The creature holding Sword of Hearth and Home can swing into the appropriate player and, with double strike, really get us ahead in mana. It sucks that the amount of hoops non-green decks have to go through to get ahead in lands, but it be what it be. Wayfarer's Bauble, Navigation Orb, and Burnished Heart are also included as generic ways to do so, but notice that the amount of options in efficiency aren't that high. But that's okay, at least every color besides green respects the color pie. Besides our commander, Access Tunnel, Minas Morgul, Dark Fortress, and Rogue's Passage help with ensuring a Saboteur is unblockable. These might cost a non-insignificant amount of mana to activate, but at least they don't take up slots in the deck. Fortunately, the deck's running Archetype of Imagination and Sun Quan, Lord of Wu, which will almost always guarantee our whole board is unblockable. Defending players will need either Reach or Horsemanship respectively. These are 2 more cards to help us close out games. While we aren't in the best colors for mana acceleration, at least we're in the best colors for interaction. The deck is running an Offer You Can't Refuse, Swan Song, Counterspell, Dobbin's Veto, Negate, Permission Denied, and Spider Sense for its counter magic suite. We do not want those board wipes to resolve while we have a massive board, unless it's for our benefit. An interesting one here is Spider Sense giving us a bonus instead of a drawback, since we can return a tapped ninja with ninjutsu or any other tapped creature that triggers on entering. Despark, Anguish Unmaking, Generous Gift, Stroke of Midnight, and Void Rend deal with permanents that are already in play. Instant Speed is the best time to use these effects, so I went with instants instead of sorceries. As for board wipes, the deck is just running Damn. With so much card advantage, you're bound to draw into it sooner than later. In any case, this is used only for when our board isn't the worst board. Mystic Sanctuary helps us top deck any of these spells when entering untapped. Fortunately, we can also do that at instant speed, and possibly in response to drawing a card, thanks to half of the deck's fetch lands. Thanks to the deck's basics, dual-typed and triple-typed lands, having it enter untapped shouldn't be a problem. If we need to play it as our land drop, that's okay too. Speaking of lands, Cavern of Souls and Mistrise Village help protect our own spells from getting countered. Choosing either human or ninja for the Cavern is fine enough since there are 18 ninja cards but 10 humans, of which a handful are too important to have countered. In any case, the village protects our next spell regardless of its type. Lightning Greaves, Sufa Boots, Champion's Helm, and Mithril Coat help protect what we already have in play. Fortunately, this deck can run just fine without the commander, but being able to protect him along with either Swen Xuan, Ultimisia, Starwinder, Satoru, etc. goes a long way. And we don't have to go so hardcore either, since this is a Bracket 2 deck. Interaction is still necessary in Bracket 2, so you still need protection, but it's not as cutthroat as Bracket 3 or 4. The rest of the deck is just the rest of the lands. The deck's running all 3 Shock lands, all 3 Surveil lands, Rafine's Tower, Arcane Sanctum, Exotic Orchard, Reflecting Pool, and Command Tower, along with 3 of each basic land for the basic land ramp effects in the deck. As with all of my deck techs, you can build your mana base according to your budget. Whether you include more expensive cards or even cheaper cards is up to you. You do you. Similarly, if you want to up the bracket for your own build, go for it, considering this is a Bracket 2 deck. That being said, it fares incredibly well, but you can always boost it up to your pod or bracket. This brews just an idea of how to build around Jin Sakai Ghost of Tsushima. As of the making of this video, the secret layer containing this card hasn't been released yet. Fortunately, it's not a super strong card, so if you miss its release, you might be able to snag it on the secondary market for a fair price. While I'm not incredibly blown away from the card, I absolutely love Ghost of Tsushima, and this card isn't a bad representation of the game. It's mechanically unique, but not game warping, which means it also lends to the deck not needing to always have it in play for it to work. In any case, if you're interested in the decklist of this Spicy Bracket 2 brew of mine, you can find a link to it down in the description. I would like to thank all my patrons for supporting me, and a quick shout out to all my higher tier patrons, the Brewers, for their patronage. I'd also like to thank anyone using my TCG Player affiliate link. That also helps out the channel. I also want to thank any channel members. Your membership is greatly appreciated. And to everyone, thanks for watching this episode of The Brewery on the Commander Tavern. I am the Mended Kirby, and happy brewing.